Have you ever noticed how a small decision like choosing a product, a subscription, or even a brand can feel immediate, urgent, almost unavoidable? You tell yourself it's your choice, that you genuinely want it, but later you realize the satisfaction was fleeting, the pull wasn't entirely yours, and you may have been subtly guided all along. Most people assume that buying a car, a gadget, or a subscription reflects a personal need. That's a comforting story, but it's not accurate. These corporations understand psychology better than most people understand finance. They create desire before you even realize it. They anticipate your weaknesses, your patterns, and your triggers, and they design products to align perfectly with them. My name is Anderson, and I've spent years noticing how these invisible forces shape our everyday behavior. The reality is stark. The biggest companies on the planet, GM, Amazon, Apple, don't simply sell products. They sell engineered experiences designed to pull your attention, your emotions, and ultimately, your wallet. I remember the first time I truly saw this in action. I was looking at a new smartphone release. Every review made it feel essential. Every unboxing video hinted at a transformation, almost a status upgrade I needed. I paused and realized the features themselves were secondary. It was the subtle anticipation, the carefully choreographed emotional pull that drove my craving. It was an engineered path. That realization was quiet, almost unsettling, but it opened my eyes. Here's the contrarian insight few recognize. Resisting these pulls isn't about willpower. It's about crossing an invisible threshold, the point at which your attention, focus, and money become consciously directed rather than manipulated. Once you reach that threshold, life changes. Choices that once felt urgent now feel optional. Spending that once drained you becomes deliberate, strategic, and compounding. Think of it as momentum. Before awareness, impulses tug constantly, pulling your attention toward the next shiny object. After awareness, the same forces exist, but now you navigate intentionally. Each decision compounds over time, not dramatically, not overnight, but steadily, and this quiet accumulation is far more powerful than most realize. Crossing that threshold triggers a psychological transformation. On one side is survival mode. Fear, scarcity, and comparison distort perception. Every sale, every new release, every upgrade feels critical. On the other side is growth mode. Awareness restores mental bandwidth. Decisions become intentional. Money is directed, not reacted to. Stressful scenarios transform into optional choices. The same events that once triggered anxiety now feel like opportunities to act wisely. Let's take a concrete example. Consider a $200 monthly subscription or gadget impulse. Over 10 years, if redirected into a disciplined investment, yielding 6% annually, it grows quietly but steadily into more than $30,000. That's not dramatic, but over decades, it compounds into life-altering momentum, and the financial gain is just the beginning. The real advantage comes from the clarity, freedom, and control that your reclaimed attention provides. This shift also changes identity. The person who once reacted instantly to every nudge begins to evolve. Patience replaces urgency. Self-trust replaces impulsivity. Control replaces obsession. You begin seeing a pattern. Freedom comes not from accumulation alone, but from deliberate allocation of attention and resources. Every decision now builds leverage, quietly but relentlessly. Opportunities begin to outweigh emergencies. Decisions once seen as stressful housing, career moves, investments, transportation become arenas for deliberate action. Every minor impulsive expense is now reframed as an opportunity cost. Every choice directed toward a meaningful long-term outcome compounds quietly into freedom. Walking away money, the capital, leverage, and options you preserve becomes real. Posture alone changes outcomes. Negotiation, career leverage, investment opportunities. Confidence is no longer performative. It's foundational. But crossing this threshold doesn't give permission to indulge carelessly. Treating financial clarity as a reward to justify lifestyle inflation undermines the compounding power of your discipline. Buying an expensive car or needlessly upgrading your living situation steals future freedom. Every choice carries opportunity cost, not judgment, but emotional clarity. Understanding trade-offs without shame allows momentum to compound quietly over time. Companies like GM, Amazon, and Apple design your desires like a silent, ongoing tax on attention and energy. A $100 impulse may feel trivial, but it comes with hidden costs. Mental bandwidth lost, money diverted, choices compromised. Multiply this over years, and the cumulative effect is enormous. Awareness allows you to reclaim that bandwidth. Your attention, time, and resources, once siphoned, now compound intentionally, quietly shifting the trajectory of your life. Stress transforms into clarity. When the next flashy release drops, it no longer feels urgent. It registers as data, a moment to pause, assess, and act intentionally. Your future self, your time, your freedom, these become far more valuable than any product you were designed to want. Now consider the deeper shift. The person who once chased fleeting satisfaction begins to see opportunity in restraint. Each decision compounds into discipline, self-trust, and clarity. Small decisions, avoiding unnecessary purchases, redirecting attention, managing expenses compound into life-level advantages. These aren't dramatic wins, but quiet shifts that accumulate into long-term freedom. Let's look at a practical example. Imagine someone spends $250 monthly on new gadgets and subscriptions, redirected to a long-term investment yielding 6% annually over 20 years. That totals over $90,000. But the numbers are only part of the story. The mental clarity gained, the ability to make decisions strategically rather than reactively, is far more valuable than the money itself. Your attention, focus, and time compound alongside your financial assets. This is the invisible threshold. Once crossed, every decision, whether about housing, transportation, career moves, or investments, takes on a new weight. You are no longer reacting to stimuli, you are designing your trajectory. Small, consistent choices build leverage. Impulse fades, purpose replaces distraction. Life-level decisions dominate over minor indulgences. The difference is immediate. A $200 purchase no longer feels urgent, but your future mortgage, career moves, or investment allocation do. Over time, identity fully realigns. You are no longer someone pulled by external cravings. You are someone who designs your environment, your choices, and your attention. Each deliberate decision compounds quietly into freedom, control, and resilience. You become a person who values clarity over consumption, options over impulse, and long-term momentum over fleeting satisfaction. And here's the quiet truth I want you to carry. The goal isn't to resist every desire or deny yourself pleasure. The goal is agency, the ability to see the design, reclaim your focus, and make deliberate choices. Each small conscious decision compounds into clarity, control, and freedom. Your future self will look back and quietly thank you. That gratitude, that sense of self-trust, that foundation of intentional living, this is far more powerful than any craving you were ever sold. My name is Anderson. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.